So I always start by taping up the edges of my sketchbook, and as you can see I like to reuse my tape a few times. My favourite tape to use is the stick to low tack stencil tape, which I sell in my store. Obviously Finley always has to come and inspect and walk over everything because that's what Finley's job is to do, of course. So here I'm starting to prepare my palette. I make my own stay wet palette from a plastic lid from a chocolate box, and I've filled it up with just some paper toweling, pouring a little water, which was brave of me to do over the iPad, and then I use just some baking paper. I have found though that it's worth investing in a good quality baking paper. I tried the cheap and cheerful own brand ones, and because I do a lot of mixing on my palettes, I tend to find after a while if you use the cheaper one it just disintegrates too quickly, whereas the branded stuff sort of stays a little bit stronger. So I make sure my water is distributed right throughout, and if I've got an excess I just pour it back into my water jar. And then once everything's all ready, then I can pop on my paper and I can start to make up my palette. So I'm going to show you some different sketchbook layouts today, and what I tend to do is I tend to always start with a little bit of mark making. So in this case I've used some oil pastels, some just standard colours, and then some metallics, and then I start to just add paint on. I try to switch through different tools, which is what you'll see as the process goes through. So some brushes, using my fingers, using palette knives, silicone brushes, and doing this sort of stage I'm really not thinking very much about the layout or composition. I think you automatically, when you've done quite a few pieces of art, you've got that in your mindset anyway, so, and it's part of the things that you're exploring sometimes without even realising that you might be working on, you leaving quiet areas and busy areas, light colours, dark colours, different tones and values. So I like to sort of not overthink this and just explore and see where the colours take me and play. And where you see these put together, I'm going to actually edit them so you can see each sketchbook layout from start to finish. But in real time what I do is actually do layer one in this sketchbook, then I'll pick another sketchbook up and do the first layer, and the next one and do the first layer, and so on. Allow them all to dry while I'm painting the next book, and then I'll come back and pick all the sketchbooks up and do the next layer, and sort of repeat through. So you're sort of switching between sketchbooks each time. But obviously, so that you can work out and follow each one through, I've edited them together today so that you can see them each sort of from start to finish. And I'd love to hear in the comments if you've got particular favourites as to which ones you like, what colour combinations and different features. Do please leave me a comment, and if you haven't already liked and subscribed the video, please do. So here I'm going to start adding a few little highlights, and I'm using a needle tipped bottle, simply filled with some of my acrylic copper paint, just to add a few script and calligraphy style details to the top layer. And isn't peeling off the tape the most satisfying part? It makes it look completely different. It's so much fun every time. So these two layouts were just two of the layouts that I did that day. I didn't record videos of me making the others, but here they are for you to see. I worked in different size sketchbooks, in square, in rectangular formats, and just explored the colour to see what I liked. And this one here was my favourite of the day, which was a surprise, very soft and subtle in contrast with bold and bright colours. So a fun exercise to have a play with.